It's spectacular. And I've actually spent a lot of time fishing and camping up in the Upper Peninsula, and literally the mosquitoes are the size of helicopters. And
really
they will cart you away.
They will.
But it really is. It's such a wild. It's like Alaska. It actually reminds me.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty. And I know we've actually talked about this previously on the show, but if you haven't been, it is a whole other country, as they used to say about Texas. Yeah. It's really pretty up there. Get a chance, you should go.
It's worth the road trip if you're going to do a summer road trip.
Totally love the UP.
Fantastic idea.
Go through the UP and brave the mosquitoes. You're better than that, bigger than them. So
Stop in Wisconsin and get some cheese curds on
now you're talking.
There you go. Yeah. So obviously we've got a lot going on today in Washington and news all around. But we've got this: Chief Justice John Roberts taking on dangerous rhetoric aimed at judges yesterday. Listen to this.
It becomes wrapped up in the political dispute that a judge who's doing his or her job is part of the problem. And the danger, of course, is somebody might pick up on that. And we have had, of course, serious threats of violence and murder of judges just simply for doing their work. So I think the political people on both sides of the aisle need to keep that in mind.
Did the Chief Justice give this kind of a speech when Brett Kavanaugh, during the hearings for Brett Kavanaugh? You
know, he was a little bit quieter about that.
Yeah.
But I give him credit. I mean, and I know that conservatives have a lot of problems with John Roberts. I have a lot of problems with John Roberts. But you know, I agree. I think that, you know, a good 90% of his rulings have been pretty sensible. But I do think that he cares deeply about the judiciary. And I think that he does want to protect the integrity of the judiciary. And he obviously wants to protect his judges. And I took that as kind of a shot. I assume that that's a shot at both sides, but you make a good point. He wasn't nearly as quiet. You didn't hear me talking nearly as loudly about this when Chuck Schumer talked about the Supreme Court reaping the whirlwind out on the front steps of the Supreme Court.
And there was a guy who showed up at Brett Kavanaugh's house with crazy stuff in his trunk that was obviously trying to do some harm.
Absolutely. And this is one of the problems with discourse in Washington. It's sort of vacillates. Sometimes it's overheated and other times it's quite muted. But the truth is, when it comes to judges and the judiciary, some of this is actually borne out by lawmakers and the way that they are, I believe, irresponsible in the way that they speak. You mentioned Schumer, and I can point to probably chapter and verse, a number of people making arguments against the judiciary, even when they are just trying to do their jobs. But don't